Szanowni Państwo, wracamy po przerwie obiadowej z poślizgiem, za który bardzo przepraszamy, więc ruszamy z kolejnym panelem. Pierwszym panelem instytucjonalnym. Słabo słychać? Dobrze. W pierwszym panelu instytucjonalnym spotkamy się z pracownikami instytucji, współtwórcami instytucji archiwalnych, oddolnych instytucji archiwalnych. Pierwszym prelegentem będzie Miklós Tamási z Open Society Archives, który prowadzi także... Poczekam sekundę. Który prowadzi także związaną z archiwami galerię, w której realizuje wystawy oparte na fotografiach historycznych i będzie opowiadał o swoim projekcie archiwum Fortepan, którego stronę internetową Państwo widzą, wyświetloną na ścianie za nami. Anita Nielsen z Norsk Teknik z Muzeum Nauki i Techniki w Oslo nie mogła niestety przyjechać, ale przyjechała jej współpracowniczka pani Tone Rask, która opowie nam o kolekcji Dextra Photo, która jest opracowywana w Muzeum Nauki i Techniki, jest część jego kolekcji. Następnie posłuchamy prezentacji Graysona Dancicza, który jest współzałożycielem i wiceprezesem The American Photography Archives Group, oddolnej organizacji zrzeszającej spadkobierców fotografów amerykańskich. Następnie wysłuchamy prezentacji Zuzanny Meissnerowej-Wismer, twórczyni Galerii i Archiwum Langhans. To jest pierwsza tego typu właśnie archiwalna instytucja w naszym regionie, dlatego szczególnie jest nam miło, że pani Zuzanna z nami będzie. Jeszcze jej nie ma, ale za chwilę dojdzie. I jako ostatnie posłuchamy Karoliny Lewandowskiej, prezeski Fundacji Archeologia Fotografii, inicjatorki tego wydarzenia, która będzie miała prezentację na temat miejsca takich właśnie oddolnych inicjatyw i ich relacji do oficjalnej, państwowej archiwistyki. Więc zapraszam Państwa na kolejny panel i tyle chyba z mojej strony. Dziękuję.
Thank you for inviting me. I'm listed under this block called Institutional Perspectives, but I don't represent any institution, although I am a member of the Open Society Archive, which belongs to the Central European University in Budapest, and we keep a very large archive, came mostly from former West Germany, Munich, and louder. Can you hear me now? So I'm an archivist, we can say, but what I would like to show you today is an unofficial website or so-called online archive called Fortepan, which is based two people photo collection or photo archive or whatever. I don't know the exact frame, but it's an unofficial initiative started a year ago, and I think it's worth to see even in Poland how do we means a friend of mine called Ákos Szepesi and myself trying to show and archiving old photos. Maybe only a very few of you know that Budapest is a very special place. Once a year, each and every inhabitant of each and every street, of each and every district is allowed to put things got needless in the household in the street. The lumber will be transported by the company in charge of street order. In practice, it means that from spring till autumn, week by week, different parts of the city are covered by garbage heaps. Furniture of no use, worn shoes, outgrew clothes, and of course a lot of garbage. When I was a secondary school student, together with my friend, we decided to see the clear out. At the very beginning, it was rather accidental. Later on, from the 90s, we made a practice of attending the clear outs, and it slowly became our passion. From the very beginning, while selecting in the garbage, we took home every object related to photography. Cameras, negatives, printed photos as well. During the decades, we made a personal relationship with others like us who collected something special like we did. Sometimes we bought photos and scrapbooks, albums from homeless people. During these decades, we found photos thrown away by hundreds of families. The majority of them are on negative films, but a few thousands on paper. After certain years, it became rather chaotic. None of us know what we exactly have in our collection. We have no clue at all about the negatives. 2 years ago, we agreed that we will have a look at all of them and we will try to scan them. At least we, the collectors, should know who are in the photos. In the next year, nearly each and every night, I scanned and cut photos. My only partner in this phase of work were PJ Harvey and Cat Power and other rock musicians. During the long nights, I had plenty of time to think carefully what we should do with these thousands of photos. It was obvious from the very beginning that the internet would be the ultimate solution. The first idea that we had was to set up a website where each and every photo can be seen and searched online, just like in a depository. It seemed to be a handy solution, since at the time we thought that each and every photo is important. After reconsidering the first few hundreds digital photos, we both felt that our collection is full of uninspiring, sad, shocking photos which destroy and demolish the much less but really important photos. With other words, if we want to have a collection in which we are emotionally involved, then we should select. So in parallel with scanning, we started the selection process. According to our own terminology, we keep only the good ones. I know this category is rather difficult to understand. So later on, we clarified and described the character of Fortepam in the following way. Here only can be seen photos which we would like to remember and make others to remember. So everything we would like to forget won't be seen. I know very well that this attitude is unacceptable by an archivist, but we do undertake, and it gives a very special charm and character to our website. By the spring of last year, we had thousands of good digitized photos to be shown. The earlier mentioned long nights with Cat Power and PJ Harvey let me think of the next steps. After browsing the internet looking for similar collections, we were certain about the following. I'm just trying to push this, but there's a button in the corner, I don't know, can you see up there? It says automatic, which means a slideshow. So if you click on, you can see all of the photos showing automatically. It's jumping, but it doesn't mean that it jumps on your computer at home, so it's an internet problem. So after browsing the internet looking for similar collections, we were certain about the following. The photo as such should be in the center of our website. The photo in the biggest size, as much as is possible, should be in the focus, since the whole stuff is about the photo. That is what we want to show you. The photo should dominate the website. The photo attracts the viewer, that it is exactly what we would like to produce, the attraction between the photo and the viewer. That is why we decided to have only one photo to be seen without any references and comments. We would like a very simple, uncomplicated website. The second thought was to make all the photos downloadable. It was not an easy decision at all, since the collection is the result of our 20-year so-called work, many hours of work, and many thousand forints. To be honest, we quite often thought that we could make some money from this enterprise. During these discussions, we remembered ourselves 10 or 20 years ago, when we were extremely angry, when we were informed about the prices by a museum for publishing a photo from their collection. We realized that we want the opposite. Our aim is that everyone could use it for any purposes, anytime, without any control. Even without our permission. To reach this goal, the original photo in high resolution should be put on the web to be downloadable. I don't know whether can you see this button up here saying download. So if you click on this download, you can download the original size of each photos, altogether 10,000 at this moment. The third thing we were sure is the most difficult one to explain. We wanted to show the photos as they linked, connect to each other. With other words, we wanted to make a film or write a novel while watching the photos one by one at the same time. It also suggests the connection between them. Our idea about the website was that we don't want thematically separated units, as we call a gallery outlook. This method would have been the most simple to realize. Let me take the example of family photos. We should have kept the different family albums and negatives together, and the thousands of photos could have been presented on one family is one gallery basis. But the problems with this attitude were the following. The origin of many photos was completely unknown for us, as they did not belong to any album, or they were single photos without a pair. This method also would have kept the separation of the photos. We did miss the feeling of continuity and unity. I'm just trying to jump to another, well, what is it? Tak? Nie? No. Yeah. So let me see something from, it's quite difficult to catch. So something from the 50s. Okay. Somehow it doesn't work at all. Excuse me? Okay, that's the 60s. And now I click on this auto function. This method also would have kept the separation of the photos. We did miss the feeling of the continuity and unity. So we had to discover a systematic method which somehow makes cohesion in a collection of photos which has nothing in common in origin. That is the timeline. That is the only original idea of the Fortepan website. Okay, do it. So this timeline is the only original idea of this Fortepan website. We understood that in one certain interval, even 10,000 photos can be fit and showed. The timeline can provide an immediate guideline for search as well. The time will be our only searching tool. The reader can select the year by using a button. When you use this when you use the website, this solution seems so obvious. But to be honest, this trivial solution came to our minds after processing thousands of photos to put the photos in chronological order. At that point, we did not even think that this timeline will be the most characteristic element of the whole collection. Who will like the Fortepan archive will do it partly because of this. We can easily jump from one year into another, the photos are still in order. However, it seems as if we were searching for something in an attic or suitcase. The depths of the collection is difficult to feel, more precisely, as if it would have no end of photos and really anything could happen we could come across with our grandparents or even ourselves. The fourth principle is about the future collection and safeguarding its subjectivity. We both agreed that the collection should be enriched and enlarged. Everybody is most welcome to donate a photo, but we did not want to become automatic. We stood up against the recent general trend, so we are not that much interested in the exact number of the photos in the Fortepan collection, but we do want to keep the right to select too. But any photos from the past are welcome. We asked the readers to send us their photos, but we would be the ones who select what to put on the website. I know it is to a certain extent radical or even selfish. There is one way to make the readers accept the unacceptable. We want a collection which is really fascinates the reader, so the quality justifies the right to select. We would like to keep the character of the whole collection. It's similar to a case, as if someone from time to time would insert new pages into a novel, but the story would be continuous. The above mentioned four principles. First, the photo should be in the focus. Second, all the photos could be downloaded free. Third, time is the systematic method. And fourth, expandable and flexible collection, but the right to select is ours. As it can be seen immediately, we had to insert a few menu points up. First of all, we had to introduce ourselves. That's not interesting. The following three buttons work as a filter. We created three thematic groups in which the photos easily can be put into. These thematic groups are people, objects, and places. In these three subgroups, we can separately see the photos in which people, objects, or places are in the focus. The sixth button is the fresh group. Here, those photos can be found which most recently were put on the website. Usually every second month, 1,000, 1,500 new photos put on the website, which can be seen here separately. The most interesting element of the menu is the search. The early days of the website, the collection was not searchable at all, since we had no data about the photos. Sometimes we did, but we did not feel like typing them in. We had neither time nor energy. Priority was given to the photo as a piece of visual art. Less attention was paid to the content, what can be seen in the photos. While we knew very well that more people are interested in the content, we were prepared for the first questions like, do you have photos of Budapest Castle? Will I find photo of Kádár János, football match, Zeppelin balloons, synagogues, etc.? Questions we cannot answer. Maybe we remember something. But we cannot find the photo, or we can do it only by accident. We were prepared for these questions, as I mentioned earlier, but at that time, we did not know how to answer these questions. How the collection became searchable, how does it search, and in what? As I mentioned earlier, we don't catalog the photos. They are put in one of three thematic groups, people, objects, places, with the year of creation. A year ago, 3 days after the website became publicly available, the forum of the leading Hungarian internet news portal contacted us asking for our approval that they would like to launch a new project on identifying of our photos. We were very glad, of course. This forum still operates and became more professional. They received about 7,000 explanations since then. The members of the forum identify not only the places, but the objects as well. They carefully edit the text themselves and send it to us. We have nothing else to do, just to copy and paste the descriptions to the right photo. In 1 or 2 weeks after the website became publicly available, it became evident that the readers obtained enormous knowledge. It could be either urban history, fashion, automobiles, ships, church history. They very much enjoy analyzing and describing the photos. We would have made a fatal mistake if we had not involved these people and their knowledge into this project. Looking at the website, I would like to say a few words about the names which can be seen in the left corner at the bottom. Fortepan collection contains 10,000 photos, so in 6 months we doubled the number of photos. There are 2 sources of the enlargement process, partly the scanning from our own collection, but this is not an interesting story. What is much more interesting is the history of these names. Right at the beginning, it turned out that there are some people who would like to share their family photos with our assistance. They accepted and agreed with the above-mentioned subjective selection conditions, so we were the ones who took care of their photos. In practice, it means that every week someone contacted us asking if he could send us some photos, and at the same time asks for meeting as well. The most important issue is the copyright, which right at the beginning of our cooperation is discussed with the donor. The copyright issue in case of Fortepan means that anyone, for any kind of purposes, even for commercial use, can download the photos. It could be interesting to mention that this copyright issue has not prevented anyone from donating yet. We were very much surprised at that, but this is the truth. Going back to the donors and names, I'd like to introduce one more function. Since Fortepan, in certain cases, appears to be a family archive, we thought that the donation should be available in a separate sections. By now, thanks to a recent development, names can be clicked and the photos of a certain family can appear separately on the same timeline. Okay, so I run out of time. That's all.